Welcome to my review of The Long Winter by Laura Ingalls Wilder.
I'm the kind of girl who doesn't say a word, who sits at the curb and waits for the world.
Okay, so I finished this book a little while ago. By a little while ago, it's probably been only a week, but when you read books, it doesn't matter what time it is or what day it is. It's just the feeling that it gives you at the moment while you're doing it. Does that make sense? If you're ever like super rapid and fast, you pick up a book and you read it, it literally slows you down, because if you read too fast, all these words will just look like a bunch of letters. I'm the type of reader. Are you the type of reader that reads a page and then you get to the bottom and you're like, what did I just read? So I have to like go back and read it again. I usually like to walk 5 steps ahead than I actually am, and it applies to books too. So it slows me down, which I like sometimes, right? Okay, but this book has been my favorite from, I think, the 3 or 4 that I've read recently, because in this book we're focusing on the season of winter. This was basically Laura's Evermore. You know how Taylor Swift done Folklore for spring, and then she done Evermore for winter, and then she done Red for fall. So the next one is summer. What do you think summer is? Speak Now or 1989? A 1980. Oh, I'm thinking of Welcome to New York, to New York. It's been waiting for you. That's like my favorite track. Do you think that's her next Taylor's version? My favorite album has been Speak Now, but I just want to hear Never Grow Up, Taylor's version. Okay. But in this book, she touched on winter. And this book opened my eyes up to what winter is really like, and how it was, and how 200 years ago, 170 years ago, 70 years ago, you would have to build your house yourself, and it would be tested by weather itself. Like, imagine looking up and being able to see the snow pass through your roof, and imagine waking up from your bed in piles of snow. Like, that is like a big like slap in the face to all the Americans and my American self, that it's not that bad here. It's not that bad in California. Like, imagine waking up with piles of snow every day, and part of your daily routine, your morning routine, was taking the snow off your blankets and then running to the stove. The stove, a cooking stove, was the heart of the house. That's really cool, because I wonder if it still isn't today, or if it still is today, but it was seen as the heart of the house because it literally brought warmth to the house. There was no heaters, the sun was covered by snow. So let me fix my hair. So your whole daily routine revolved around keeping the stove on and running. Isn't that crazy? Like, you would, if you didn't have a stove, you would die. Like, it's so crazy to like think about that. That's why I like the pacing of this. I noticed I love the pacing of like super slowness and super present momentness. Is that a word? I would spell that all in one word. Present momentness. No spaces. Maybe a capital P. But I really like this because it shows that blizzards are a thing, And if blizzards last for 3 days, you have to be resourceful in what you have around you. It's just like, it's like little mini life lessons in these books because they're actually real. I think the writer Laura actually, I thought she was making this up maybe from stories she accumulated from like family members and strangers, but I think some of them are actually her real stories. But obviously put into a machine so it can be digestible by the younger audience of kids. But this is my favorite book series. Let's find a passage. Fair weather. Morning was bright and clear, but there was no school. There would be no more school until the train came bringing coal. Trains, like the invention of trains was late 1980s. And if the train couldn't get to you because it was covered, the tracks were covered by snow, you didn't have new food or new supplies or new wood for months at a time. This blizzard was the longest, which lasted 6 or 7 months, I think. So imagine that. That you can't imagine it because it's so easy, and now we can just Amazon things and it could be delivered on the same day. Like, I need carrots, it could come in one day. I need lash glue, it could come in, or you could just go pick it up yourself. You don't have to travel 20 miles by wagon and a horse to get it. Let's read the next chapter. Outdoors, the sun was shining, but frost was still on the window, and the kitchen seemed stable and dull. Carrie gazed out through the peephole in the frost while she wiped the breakfast dishes, and dearly, Laura sloshed the cooling water in the dishpan. Imagine having to pick up snow from the ground or from inside your house because it fell through the roof, putting it in a pot and then boiling that for your tea, for your morning tea. That is so cool and so resourceful. Like, and did you notice the adjectives she used to build the image? She's like painting with words. Like, she's telling you about the frost, about the snow, telling you that the sun was peeking in through, but you had to take the frost off the window to be able to see it. Like, that already paints like presentness and okayness with where you are in life. And I like how Laura, is she 15? I think she might be 15, maybe 14 in this book. So it's from the perspective of a 7th grader, 8th grader. And to compare a 7th grader back then to a 7th grader now is like 180. All right. Let's see, what else did I like about this book? It puts stuff into perspective, which I love. Always, if anything can check my perspective, I'll take it, as long as it's not people, because people are too drawn up into themselves and their daily struggles that you can't ever have a conversation with the people with people without them perceiving how you are affecting them is the outcome of their words. Okay, let me think about what I just said. You can't really have conversation with people because they are judging you based on how you are affecting them. So that being said, if someone feels judged by just your demeanor, by your attitude, by your look, they're gonna come at you with words that are not pure words. Does that make sense? I love these books because a blizzard is so thick that you have people living 5 miles from you that you won't be able to see until the blizzard's over, which is like a metaphor for depression. Like, when I'm gonna use myself to get my point across. When I am in a blizzard, when I'm in a depressive peak, it could last 1 to 3 days, but the sun is gonna come up. It's inedible. Inedible? I don't think that's the word. Inedible? But when you live in a planet that rotates around the sun comes up. And this made me think about that so awesomely. And it kind of made me see days and cycles in like threes or ones, which is like an interesting time to live in while reading this book. Like, I wanted to not finish this book, but I know I needed to read it because it was helping me get through some days. Why do you read? Why do you use reading? I like it kind of as a therapeutic meditation because you get to paint the story with the words that are given to you, which I like. Like, I just love. I wonder if my last past life was in the 1800s. What do you think yours was? Do you think you're freshly new from the 2000s or the 1900s? And if you could go back to any century, what century would you go to? The 1900s, boring, because I am from them, parentheses from them, or I get to see what they were through newspapers, through movies, through televisions, through magazines. I get to see how it looked like the facade of the 1900s. I like the 1800s because the only way you can study the 1800s is by text, right? Because there was no cameras yet. There was that started coming out, but it was like through newspapers. Like, what the girls got excited to read, even the blind girl Mary got excited for the newspapers of the storytellings of fantasy princesses and the news. That came like every few months. That's what they looked forward to, which is like so crazy because kids nowadays just want that $50 Barbie that they can get at Walmart. But they had to wait to. I like the idea of waiting for what's yours. Don't you like that? You don't want to rush things because what is yours is going to be yours and nobody else's. That was a lot to say about a elementary level book, but I think that's what the magic of this is. American pioneer life. That's still us today. So I would recommend you go onto eBay or type in Little House on the Prairie and buying a book for $4 with free shipping, or going to your local library and checking out Little House on the Prairie books, because that is where you might find me. Peace from your pioneer girl. But I don't have hair on, so from your pioneer boy. Pioneer soul. Oh my god. That is the title of this episode that will come with a video review and a shorts attached to it. Pioneer soul. Okay, bye.